Okay. Welcome to day one of fall 2024 Programming Fundamentals with C Sharp. I'm Jim Kaufman with Rankin Technical College, and I will be your instructor. So we will have live sessions on lecture days, and lecture days is when here we're going to do a lot of introductory type stuff, but the other lecture days we're going to be going over chapters. The other days we'll be going over labs, and on those days I'll be online, but we probably won't be in. We won't be having these sessions. So you can just contact me, and if there's some reason we need to get together for a meeting, we can always do that any other time. Um, so the way this will work is, we'll start approximately 8:05 every morning. We'll try to start on time every morning, and we'll take like three 15-minute breaks. So maybe around 50, 55 minutes, just depending on what we're covering, and if we got a good stop place, we'll go ahead and take a break. So today we're going to go over um, class introduction. We're going to do a syllabus review. We're going to go over worth ethic grade sheet. There is a video that I need for you to all watch. Um, it's for new students. It's called the New Student Orientation. If you've already seen the video, you can go ahead and skip it when we're doing that part. You can do something else, but it's kind of it's required for I've been told that I need to make sure that I let you see that, and then we're going to go over setting up your environment, and then we're going to go ahead and get into chapter one a little bit. Okay, a little bit about me. I did do a welcome video, and hopefully, if you haven't looked at that, please look at that. There'll be a little overlap here, but not much. But a little bit about me. I've worked in the software industry for 20 plus years. Did a lot of work as a software developer. I worked at AG Edwards, which was a stock brokerage company downtown St. Louis. They were later acquired by Wells Fargo. I worked there. I worked at MasterCard. I worked at. I did a lot of government contracting work as well for USDA, NOAA, NASA, General Service Administration. So I have a lot of also that contract experience as well. A lot of my programming was with Java, but I've done other programming language. A lot of front end stuff like JavaScript, HTML. Don't worry if you don't know what those all mean, but and I have used different programming language as well. So C Sharp is actually very similar to Java, and that's actually kind of Microsoft's. Java became very popular, and Microsoft came up with the C Sharp programming language. It's pretty much their answer to the Java programming language. Okay. Um, So then, and then here more recently, I'm, an instructor with Rankin. Did a lot of different certifications. A lot of these are a lot of times in programming, the certifications aren't always like specific to programming. The first one was, the certified Java programmer, but these other ones, this is a project management one that I did before starting some project management. And these other ones are really a lot of these four here were all cloud related. Cloud's very popular nowadays. So, we'll talk a little bit about cloud here and there, but not a lot. We'll be focusing more on the C sharp stuff. Okay. Um, so, like I said, I encourage you to go ahead and look at that welcome to the welcome video. Just wanted to kind of go over the real quick here, and this is a little overlap from that as well, but just real quick, just wanted to kind of go over this web program. And in here, basically, the first one is about building websites. The second one is the one that this is what we're going to be. This is the course we have today, and this is about C sharp, and this is a programming language. It's an object-oriented programming language, and we'll discuss what that means later. But this is the one we'll be doing. So if this is your first course and you're taking this right now, the next semester you'll need to take the AWD 1000, which is the website development course. You have to have both of these completed before you do either of these second year ones. So these next two are the second year ones. Okay. So here's some tools that we'll be using in this course. Um, Git is an open source version control system that helps developers track changes to source code during software development. It's basically the most popular version control system that's used nowadays. So when we say open source refers to software where the software that's created is freely available to anyone to view, modify, and distribute. So you can basically take something, anything that's open source, you can take it, you can make changes to it, you can redistribute it. It kind of, there's different licenses, but that's kind of what open source means. It's like they create something, they give it out to the community. It's very good for others to collaborate on, and there's a lot of transparency, so can see how everything works. Another tool is GitHub, and this is a place where you'll store your code for this course, and we'll have different labs, hands-on tests that you'll go ahead and commit your code to GitHub. And then we also have GitHub Desktop, and this is another open source. This is another open source application, and this is a way for actually like pushing your code from your PC or laptop up to your GitHub repository. So when I say GitHub here, I'm pretty much talking about the GitHub repositories. Okay. And then the main tool we'll be using for this course would be Visual Studio. And this is a integrated development environment from Microsoft. And what that means, integrated development environment, it means that there's just a lot of extra functionality that you can do within Visual Studio, and within a integrated development environment. There's extra functionality. You can debug things. You can actually run programs and that. Now this, as compared to just a regular code editor, so like a regular code editor, you can do your code, but then you have to move outside of that sometimes to run things and do other things. With a integrated development environment, you can do everything within that. Another thing I wanted to point out with Visual Studio, this is Visual Studio, which we'll be using. There's also what's called Visual Source Code. Visual Source Code is more of an editor, and we use that in a couple other courses here. We use that in the HTML course, so that's a different product, just to let you know that. One thing I just kind of wanted to bring up here again, I did talk about this in the welcome video, is this is a 14 credit hour course, and a significant commitment of your time is necessary to do well in this course. So this is a 80 days, 16-week course. And, to succeed in this course is good. This is just kind of a rule of thumb of 5 hours per week. Some will need a lot more. Some, will use a lot less time than that, right? And don't feel bad. Sometimes, this being, for a lot of people, this is your first programming course. It's going to take time to learn things and get used to things, and you'll get stuck on things and have to work through it. And it can be, it can be frustrating. But I want to, let you all know I'm here to help you. Also, we have, we can have tutors that can be available too to help you as well. So don't get too frustrated. You start running into trouble, let me know, and we'll go from there. Okay. The second thing with succeeding in this course is make sure that you create a plan and a schedule and kind of stick to it. A lot of people, tend to put everything off until the end, right before things are due. And usually not all of our assignments, but most of our assignments will be due on Sunday at midnight. So you want to make sure that you're doing a little bit of work throughout the week. So like you do a little bit of work every day. So that way That way, you're not getting to that Sunday and all of a sudden you're cramming just to try to get everything done. Okay, that's where I think most people run into problems. They don't schedule their time and do their work throughout the week. They just push it to the end. Then when they start falling behind one week to the next week, and then it starts snowballing on them, right? And then it becomes a point of no return, right? So it's really just about dedicating your time. So there is a book. We're going to go into this a little more. But a good idea to read the book chapters. It'll give you a good foundation, and obviously, don't be afraid to ask. And we have tutors. They're available. They get paid, and so you might as well use that resource that's there. And the most important thing is just don't give up. Keep at it. Sometimes things are harder for some people at the beginning, and those people end up, getting better and better, and before you know it, they're some of the best students in the class, and they're some of the best workers out in the field, right? Just don't worry about where you're starting. It's where you're going. It's important, right? You can do this as long as you put in the time, and you're dedicated to it. Okay. Next thing I wanted to kind of go over. So let's go into inside ranking here. And I'm going to log in. So your screen's going to look different than mine. I have multiple courses and things. So this is this course. So if you go on inside ranking, go to this course. You're going to see you'll have all these different options on the left here. If you click on, we're going to go ahead and go through the syllabus. We'll go through this page a little bit, and then we're going to go through the syllabus. So this is, and a lot of this is also on the syllabus. And I think we kind of already discussed this. This is an online course, and so the maximum allowable absences for this course is 2. And so attendance is taken once a week, and it's based on you submitting your assignments. We have different kinds of assignments. We have written test, we have hands-on test, we have labs, and we have some homework. And so your written test will be done on Inside Rankin, where the other ones will be submitted to your GitHub repository. So at the beginning of the next week, so it's do everything. Most of the assignments, hands-on tests, we're going to have them do more in the middle of the week, but all the other assignments will be due basically Sunday at midnight. And actually, this week I did put Sunday at midnight for these, but since Monday's a holiday, I think I'll just change that to the Monday at midnight. Even though some people might not want to be doing any work on that day, it just gives people an extra day if they decide to do that work on Labor Day. But like I said, the attendance is taken once a week, and then basically when I would come in on a Monday morning, and I'm going to go and I'm going to look if you submitted any written test, and if you didn't submit written test, then I'm going to go look and see if you committed anything to your repository. And when I say commit anything to your repository, it has to be kind of meaningful. It can't be just, you just uploaded a file which got like 5 lines in there and, it doesn't work. You weren't, it was something like you spent 5 minutes to do, right? It has to be, you actually made an effort to actually, complete the assignment, right? Even if it doesn't work, it's okay, but it's got to be a real effort that you actually were doing something, not just something that you spent 5 minutes doing, okay? The next thing I wanted to point out on here, so this is an office phone number. I'm required to put this here. And actually this doesn't go to an actual phone. It's a phone system. And so if you end up calling this number, it's just going to be a voicemail Well, if you do leave a voicemail, if you just call this number, I won't even know you called it unless you leave a voicemail. If you do leave a voicemail, it will actually send an email that'll be in my email box, right? So really the best way is just go ahead and email me. And, I'm available. And I'm available outside of these hours. I'm just kind of given, some base hours. I'm not going to put, always available. Sometimes I have things going on in life. So, but, basically in the morning before class, I'm online kind of getting ready. And it's fine. You can contact me at any time during these hours. And then, always you can send me an email at any time, any hours, right? Here's the book, and we'll discuss that a little bit more. And this is a course level outcomes. And so by the end of this course, these are the things you should be able to do, right? You should be able to develop console applications in Visual Studio. You should be able to develop GUI applications, which GUI stands for Graphical User Interface Applications, that respond to events in Visual Studio. Solve problems using fundamental programming concepts, including variables, branching, and loops. Now, don't worry. I know this is a lot. A lot of this you're not going to understand right now, but this is just giving you a little bit of introductory into this, and we're going to touch on all these things. How to use arrays and collections to store and manipulate data. Demonstrate exception handling and data validation, and write applications utilizing fundamental OOP, which stands for object-oriented programming, concepts such as classes, object, encapsulation, inheritance, and abstraction. That's quite a mouthful. So and actually, people tend to do really well at the beginning, and these are the areas that we really, when we get to this point, these are the areas that you need to, really spend some extra time on, because it can become it becomes a little more difficult at this point. So you really want to make a concerted effort to put in the time to learn these concepts. Okay, when we get there. So also there's these resources. Actually, let me change this to student view, and this will be more what you're seeing here. So actually, when I copied this class over from a different instructor. So some of these things we're not necessarily going to use. You can read any of these. I did update this chapter 2 textbook, and this is the chapter 2 that the PDF. But I already sent out an email with the PDFs. But a lot of these things that are in here, you can go ahead and look at this. But what I will do is I'll actually email you things that are important, that are going to be helpful for you for the most part. Okay. But yeah, this one here on chapter 2, this is good. This will go to the PDF on that. And this setting up your environment, this is a good one that I have here, but I'll also send you the link to these all as well. Okay. Whatever you do, click on some of these things, depending on what it is. The PDF is going to go right in the browser. Oh, yes, I see your message there. Yes, until you get your books, go ahead and, you can go ahead and, here's chapter 2 and chapter 3. These are the two chapters we'll be covering. I'll see what I can do. These are chapters that actually these are published from the publisher. So these are PDFs. If I might be able to do a little bit of copying some of a few of the other chapters, just to give us a little space until people get books. Okay. Give us a little time until people do get books. But yeah, chapter 2 and 3 is good on here, and that's what we'll be covering this week. Like I said, there's these other resources. Feel free to look at them. They all go to the Microsoft documentation, and basically here, so that here's the C# language documentation. I'll send you the link to all this stuff. some students may not have time to do all this stuff, but this is C Sharp's a Microsoft product, so this is all their documentation and examples that it's going to be reliable, and as compared to other places you might you always search on the internet, you're going to find, especially with coding, you can find things that they're using older coding concepts, or the code's not right. So you always got to be careful. That's one good thing about using the company that actually created the software, which is Microsoft here for C Sharp. That that this is going to be you know good to use, right? Be quality and accurate. So yeah, and, went all the way down here for section two's chapter three. So yeah, that's kind of bizarre. So yeah, I copied a lot of this over. I apologize. Maybe some of this. I'm gonna have to go through some of these and see how well they align with what we're doing. So the next thing, so yeah, and we'll go ahead and let me click the coursework tab. So these are the assignments. There we go. These are the assignments that are for this week. I have this questionnaire that I created. It's basically 20 free points. Go ahead and fill that out. And also there's a question about books on there. That's kind of the most important thing that I really, and I'd like to know a little bit about you if you want to provide that, and especially, how much experience in programming you have. But here's your coursework for this week. So you'll have these different sections, and if like kind of go down here, this section down here, you'll see there's nothing there. It's because I haven't made it visible. Making too much stuff visible just kind of confuses things. If you get ahead, in this course, certain students, will get to a point where they'll get ahead of maybe where the class is. I can go ahead and make some things available to you, or just send it to you, so you can kind of work ahead if you would like to do that. Okay. But here it's basically the main assignments that are due this week. Okay. And we're going to go into this. I'm going to help you a lot this week with going through the written test. We're going to go through a lot of them. Well, we got two of them. We're going to go through the chapter 2 and chapter 3 written tests. We're going to go through the labs. So I'm going to help you go. So don't be afraid. This first week you should be able to do pretty well on all of this, because I'm really going to help you through all of this. As we go on through the semester, I'll be helping you. I'm always here to help you, obviously, but I'm not going to make it as easy for you. You're going to have to do a little bit of more of the work on your own. Okay. So that's the different stuff there. And then obviously you can come in here and look at the grade book, and that, will be your grade. So basically you come in here, anybody who comes in here and does this questionnaire, I'm going to give you 20 points. You're going to have an A starting out. So you'll have an A right away in this course, right? It's a good way to start out. So the next thing on here is the syllabus. And you click on this, and we'll go ahead and I'm going to go through this. You click download. And then up here, so I use Google Chrome for most things. I don't know, you can use other browsers, but I generally use Google Chrome. But then it'll download. It'll download to whatever set in your whatever you have configured as your download folder. By default, it's usually a downloads folder that's on Microsoft, but it could be different, okay, depending on if you change that. But by default, it'd be in your downloads folder. So another thing I might go ahead and do for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. One thing I don't like about this way is, if this is kind of a living document, this syllabus, and if I change it, then, you'd have to download it again. It can be kind of cumbersome, and you get confused on which version's the right version. So I might actually just make this into like what's called a Google document, and then you can just click it and always bring it and have a link to it, so you can just click it and then always go and look at it, and you'll have the updated version all the time. So I'm probably going to move this to that. I think it makes things a lot easier. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I already have the syllabus open. So let's go through that a little bit here. So, just like I said at the beginning here, like I was just saying, the syllabus, will change during the semester. It's kind of a living document. So, and actually, I don't have this completed even at this point. But as far as the original, or the first few weeks, it should be pretty close. Um, so for this course, here's the course book, which we kind of already said that's the course book. So one thing I did want to kind of mention is, I think last semester the instructor for the online course used the eighth version, but I found out that the seventh version is it's a little older, but there's usually not a significant amount of differences between one version and another. Yes, it's a little more updated, but it's usually it's not that much different. So we're gonna though be using the seventh edition version on this because I was told that's what I'm supposed to be doing for that. Um, Here's a link to the YouTube channel, and this will be all the go to it real quick. So this will be all of the and so this is the two I have right now. So what I end up doing here at the beginning is I kind of put it in the order: first one, second one, third one. But as we go through the semester, after I get about five or so, what I'll change the order of it so that you don't have to. I get like 20, 30 different videos, and you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom to find the last one. So I'll change the order so that the after we get about five or so, maybe a little more, I'll go ahead and change it so that the top one is the latest video. So you can just look at the last few because by then you're not even worried about the earlier ones. Okay. Let's see what else I want to mention here. So part of your setup was, some of you may already use Discord. It's very popular for gamers and stuff. But as far as Discord, will probably really be since I'm using Microsoft Teams. Discord will probably be maybe like if for chatting, if you want to chat with me, something's going on, just a quick chat instead of sending an email. You can chat with me within Discord, and then sometimes maybe we'll do some one-on-one. At times throughout the semester, I don't know how many times, but you'll have a couple one-on-one discussions, student instructor, just to see where you're at and how things are going. Um, so that's what we'll be using that for. And actually, I have a message right now, don't I? Okay, I'm not gonna look at that right yet. No. So, oh yeah, one thing I want to mention in here also, as far as YouTube videos, if you're in here, so basically, and this is going to be in chronological order. So yeah, actually, for my YouTube, this is all the stuff I did for the previous course, which was the HTML course, and then here now starting August 21st is when I recorded this video. So you can also, if you're in Discord, you can also see the videos. So this video, once I publish this out to the playlist, it'll also put it in here as well. Okay. And like I said, there might be some times that we'll go ahead and use the voice channel or something. Here's one, the AWD. This is for this course, which I guess I didn't mention that AWD stands for, if you didn't know, Application Web Development, right? That's the program. And 1100, that's the number for the course. But like right here, we can, and then you could join me. We could have a discussion or whatever. So we'll probably be using it, for that purpose. Okay. I can close that for now. All right. So I think we kind of went through most of this already at one point. Yeah, and I just want to let just mention again. I hate to do that to you, but as far as attendance, just please try to do your best just to make sure you get something. And if even if you're not finished with your code, it's okay. And actually within a repository, when you're using a source control method for your code, even out in the field, and even when you're working at a job somewhere, you're supposed to, you don't just leave code on your PC or your laptop for a long periods of time, because you could be working on a lot of code and all of a sudden something happens. You have a disk crash on your computer. Then all of a sudden you lost all that work. Sometimes they can see if they can go back and grab that, but it could be very concerning to do that, because you may not get it back, right? So it's always a good idea, so when you're working on your work, and especially with these pushing this stuff to the GitHub, even if you're not done, you could be, if you got a good amount of code done, a little bit, go ahead and push it up there. Or at the end of the, to tell you the truth, at the end of every day, if you're working on something, you should actually just push it up there. Then you can come back the next day and work on your code some more, push it back up there. And the good thing about that is if you're pushing your code up there, even if you don't get done with it, I can see you're making progress, you're working on it. And if for some reason we didn't have a written test, or you didn't complete your written test, then I can see you did push some code out there, and I can mark you as present for the course. Okay? So a few of the areas that we're going to kind of talk about a little bit, with work ethic. We're going to talk about work ethic a little bit, and one of them is basically academic honesty. And that's, it's a little different, with when I was saying work ethic about online courses, as opposed to seated courses. So if you're in a seated course, you have to be wearing the shirts, and tuck them in, no tennis shoes or sneakers, so they're much more stricter. And then, being tardy for class, you can, if you're not there at a certain time, you're marked as tardy. You get enough tardies, you're absent. Okay. Um, so it is a little bit different, but academic honesty is one of those that it is important for the online courses as well. You know, so you just want to make sure you do your own work. You can use resources you have available, but if you're copying another student, some previous student, you're copying his work. We actually have many of the other students' repositories and what they've done. So there's actually ways we can compare those, and that. So just want to make sure you do your own work, and you're not using other people's work. All right. Um, One thing I'm sorry I should have mentioned earlier, about the attendance. So, so one thing about attendance, there's a maximum of two. So the way that works is, you're gonna if you get marked absent one time, and then you get absent the second time, you're gonna receive the warning that, hey, you're at two, you can do another, you'll be removed from the class. So, and basically that's all done, because I go in there, and I mark people being present or absent. And so if you have two absences, and I go in there and I just click that button saying that you were absent from class, and it's saved, there's an automated process that automatically the registrar's office will remove you from the course. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Um, Now, one thing with this course, so let's say that you didn't get all your labs done one week. Um, you can go ahead and resubmit them late for a 10% penalty. Okay, so there's a lot of options for you to redo things or turn things in late. So basically, like, if what's going to happen is, if something's 100 points and then you didn't turn it in the first week, you didn't turn it in until the second week, then we're going to take 10% off the top before we grade it, right? So, let's say, you took 10% off, you start with 90, you got some things wrong, maybe you're going to get a 75 to, all the way up to 90, depending on, what you did right and what you did wrong, right? But we're taking 10% off the top. Now, I know that, in a way, it kind of looks like, well, I can just kind of wait and turn things in later. But, generally, that doesn't work well because you're gonna fall too far behind, and the opportunity for you to turn in late work is there. And from my experiences and from other instructors' experiences, people do turn in some late work here and there, but it's not substantial. And if you start thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to worry about it. I can just turn it in late the next week. Usually, it doesn't take long that things will snowball on you, and before you're going to be in a little trouble. So, just wanted to point that out. And if there is something that you're going to turn in late, please make sure you communicate that with me before you do that. Just shoot me an email saying, hey, please look at this. I turned this in late. Please look at this. Okay. And these are just kind of some suggestions. So if I'll show you what your GitHub repository is going to look like, and if you don't see it on your GitHub repository, that means it's not uploaded, because we have this tool called GitHub Desktop, and we will push things up to the GitHub repository, and if you sometimes students don't always do it exactly right, and if it's not up there, you can look at the website, the GitHub website, to see if it's there, to make sure it's uploaded, right? So make a habit of committing your work multiple times a week, right? And even every day if possible, right? And then obviously, if there's some minor, milestones you got done with the first, it's maybe 8 parts in this lab, and you got done with 4 parts, that's pretty significant. Make sure you go ahead and submit that, push that to the GitHub repository. Okay. Now, just wanted to make sure, I know I'm throwing a lot here, so a lot of this stuff is new to you. Don't worry, we're gonna go through all these things. Okay. How to use GitHub, how to use all these different tools, and everything else. Okay. So commit your code, even if it isn't complete, like we said. And grades will be assessed on your most recent submission. So basically, yeah, you might push your code Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it'll be basically the deadline. Basically, is whatever the deadline on the thing is on the coursework. So the last submission at that time. Okay. So here's the breakdown for this course grading. So 15% will be on written test. 35% will be on your lab assignments. 40% will be these hands-on tests. And these hands-on tests are actually very important from a ranking perspective, because this is kind of basically how we track how the majority of the classes are doing. Are they reaching? Are they passing these hands-on tests? How are they doing? Is things too easy, or is things too hard? So we actually use that as a barometer to see how that course is going, how the students are doing. Okay, and it's worth 40%, right? So you want to make sure. And these hands-on tests, these are ones that I'm basically going to give you during the middle of the week, and you'll have, my plan is, give you about 48 hours to complete them. So you'll get it 7 o'clock in the morning, and they'll be due by 7 o'clock in the morning 2 days later. Okay. So that's what what we're doing a little bit is kind of following a little bit what they do on the in-person courses. So, you basically come in and this is very similar. They're going to have different due dates on a lot, but they're going to still have a lot of Sunday due dates. But the hands-on tests, they pretty much give those out. This is a test day. Here's your assignment. Start working on it. And usually it's due within that day, right? It's due, they'll give you so many hours or whatever, and you're going to do it. Well, here for online, that's a little more difficult, especially we have some people that are are, working full time and they can't attend these sessions. So, we're going to give you some more time to work on them. But, you do need to make some time during those days and evenings to get those hands-on tests completed. Okay. So here's the overall grade scale. From A on down. Just to let you know, from Rankin's perspective, really, to pass this course, you need a 74.5 or greater. Basically, anything less than that is considered failing from Rankin's perspective, so you need to have at least a 74.5%. Okay. So here, let me make this maybe a little bit bigger. So here's a workload table. So we'll have lectures and discussions. I don't know how many quiz hours we'll have, but we'll have lectures and discussions. Most of it, this just breaks down time for you to do reading, 80 hours a week, time for you to do homework, time for you to do labs, right? So it's all kind of broken down into different categories, and then the total hours, which is all considered contact hours. And the contact hours, basically time you're working on your labs, your homework, your reading, these lectures, everything else adds up to 320 hours. And so basically for a 16-hour course, that's about 20 hours a week, right? So that's 20 hours a week. And then, many students are going to need some extra time besides just that time, and we're going to give you time for lab, but besides that, you might need some extra time as well. And it could be some students, some weeks might even spend 40 hours working on it. Some, might spend a lot less. It all depends on where you're at right now and what your familiarity with it is. And, it might take you a little bit longer to learn things and you'll spend some more hours, where some other students may already have some programming experience, some knowledge about things. They may get things done a little quicker, but just hang in there. Everybody's different, and there's nothing wrong with struggling. Struggling's good, believe it or not. So, so I'll tell you what. Why don't we go ahead? Why don't we go ahead and take a 15-minute break? So it's 8:50 right now. It's been about 55 minutes. It's 8:50 right now. Well, it's actually 8:51. You can come back at I guess like 5 after, and we'll go ahead and continue. We'll go ahead and continue about 9:05. Okay. Okay. It's a little past 9:05. Somebody sent me a message here. Let me see. Yeah, so someone sent me a message. Are all class days lecture days? So basically, the days we're gonna meet online, via the Microsoft Team meetings, will be days where we're basically lecturing. For today's a little different because we're doing a lot of this introductory type stuff we need to take care of. But when we're going over chapters and that, but then on your lab days, basically on your lab days, you'll be working on that yourself. I will be available. I'll be online. But the purpose of those days is for you actually to do your work. And if you need to meet me real quick, hey, I'm having a problem with something. Will you meet me with this? That's not a problem. That's what I'm here for. Okay. But, I'm not going to sit there and, I talk enough as it is. So, I'm going to be covering the different chapters. And then, especially this week, I'm going to be helping you out on a lot of these assignments. So, maybe we will meet a little bit more this week. I will just kind of see how things fall in place. But for the most part, the lecture days is when we're talking about the chapters. On the lab days, you'll just be working on the labs yourself. Okay? The labs and homework yourself. So to continue here, So, and I will go ahead and send you information on this, but we do have a tutor that's assigned to this class. And they get paid, and so if they like to work. So if you want to use them, that'd be that's to your benefit. I'll send you information about them, and so you can contact them if you need any help. Um, so I know it had talked to mentions here, Patrick Glenn, which I'm sure that you all probably know him from as a missions counselor, probably from enrolling in this course. I believe you would all know him. But if you do have any questions on anything about the class or the things that are beyond my scope, please please reach out to Patrick Glenn. Okay. If you have any special accommodations, um, you know, special needs and so forth, also contact Patrick Glenn for that as well. A lot of this isn't the same for online courses as it is for in-person classes, but there's still factors that are involved. So, um, another thing I did want to mention, career services. So, we do have help with resume writing, job placement. And, a lot of what we'll be doing in this course is, building different things, obviously. But, for each class, we spend time taking your work and putting it in a portfolio. And we put these on online portfolio so that you can demonstrate to employers that you know the stuff, right? So it's a kind of a showcase of you put your resume out there. You can put hopefully some live applications, and we'll talk about this is your first course here, or maybe even it could be your second course for some people, but this is something we'll build throughout the four classes, the four courses within this program, and so that will be we want to be able to have a nice portfolio that you can send a link to an employer. They can go see your work. We'll link to your GitHub repository and all that. And maybe it's not the one we're using for the class. Maybe a different one. We can work through that later. But we want to make sure that you've got some good examples. That you have some good examples that you can show an employer of the work you've done. Okay. So we do help. And I can help you as much as possible, especially in the later courses as well for helping job placement and stuff. And I'll send you things throughout here and there. I do actually. I had a recruiter, a technology recruiter, contact me Friday. They're looking for someone who has some skills, and it's based on one of those courses that we actually have here. It's the skills that are, and it's that database driven one course. We use things like technologies like React and Node and these other technologies as well. And they're looking for someone, and he contacted me. So we're working on getting a list of people that we can send over to them so they can look through that, right? So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you as time goes on. A little harder in the first year, but not that it's not possible, right? So, and also as far as like this past course I had, it was kind of a situation. It was we were actually down to sometimes the later courses. It was a smaller course, a smaller class size, and a couple people dropped out, and so it was really just me and him almost at the end. And he was well, we had some other students, but that wasn't their last class. But this was his last class. He was graduating in May, so I worked with him. I helped him. I helped him work on his resume. Showed him how to, and I showed him how to look for some jobs. And then I sent him some jobs. He actually got some interviews, and I worked with him through on what to say at the interview, and he ended up getting a job. So he started a week after graduation. So there's a lot of success stories regarding that. Okay. Just please, make sure you go out and look at the Rankin Student Handbook. A lot of these things I'm kind of discussing are based on that, the attendance and the work ethic and so forth. So here's kind of the course schedule, and the schedule will be, well, it's going to change throughout the semester. Actually, I don't have this complete like I would like it. Um, but the first assignment, obviously, is right here is the questionnaire. 23 points just for filling out the questionnaire. So, it's the easiest points you'll get in this course. So please fill that out. Also ask you about a book if you would like a book sent to, if you're going to pick one up downtown, if you live closer downtown, or if you're closer to the Wentzville office, I can get it sent out there because the Wentzville office doesn't have a bookstore, only the downtown location. So I can get that sent out to the Wentzville office. So you just need to let me know, and then you can fill out this questionnaire, and that's one of the questions, and we'll send you a book out to Wentzville that you can pick up there. And here's just the first two YouTube videos that I have, and this is the welcome video, and then also setting up your environment. Okay. And so then, we're going to go through here. And so like, here's day 2, we're going to do lecture chapter 2. And then here's our, kind of our first real assignments, and these are going to be due. Did I change that to 2? I think I did, which is the Monday. I think this is Monday, isn't it? I believe that is Monday. Which is Labor Day, right? And so assignments will be due by, I don't think I changed it on Inside Ranking, but I'll make sure I do that. So, it'll be due by midnight that night. And especially, important thing about the written test. The written test cannot be, we're talking about late assignments. Written test cannot be turned in late. So whatever the late assignment is. So in this case, it's Monday evening. Most of the time, this for the written test. This is probably the only one that's going to be Monday. It's always going to be Sunday, I believe. I don't think there's any other Monday holidays. I'll have to check. But written test, you actually do those inside Rankin, and when that closes, and that's it. So you have to make sure that you complete that. Now, I'm going to tell you, actually, we're going to go over this. We're going to go over the whole test, and you're going to pretty much have the answers to this whole test. Okay. Chapter 3. I'm thinking about exactly how I want to handle that one, but this one I'm going to pretty much give you, you're going to have all the answers for this one and make it a lot easier for you this first time around, right? Get off to a good start here, and then go from there. And then we're going to go through a lot of the chapter 2 labs as well, what you need to do to perform those as well. Okay. So that's, that will be for that's for day 2, and it's not due until later in the week, but this is when it's kind of being assigned, right? This is when it's being assigned, and then we'll have these lab days, right? Day 1, lab day, and then you got your Labor Day holiday, which is 9/2, right? So yeah, I need to change those all to Monday. And then we're going to continue on to other chapters. Now, we aren't going to cover every chapter. We're not going to cover every chapter in the book. And what we're doing here is we're trying to, even though this semester, sometimes this course that's online is held at the same, same semester as the one that's downtown St. Louis campus. But this semester, they're actually doing the HTML course, this one. Last semester was actually the HTML course, which I taught online, and the instructor downtown, Mr. Gagelman, he taught that downtown at the same time I was teaching this. But we're trying to keep these courses pretty close to each other. We want to vary, we'll do some things a little differently from an online course. Like I was talking about the hands-on test, then what would we be doing for, an in-person class, right? The hands-on test, we're going to give you a little more time to work on that. Like I said, most of those times. So here's the test day, hands-on test. Okay. And you'll have a couple days to work on this. And then, obviously if there's a day that you're that if you get something done early and you just work on something else, right? You get the hands-on test done early. You go ahead and spend time working on other things because there's other assignments, right? You're gonna have your chapter 4 assignments, chapter 5 assignments the next week, right? And the reason I make this red is this is just really important. This hands-on test, okay? And so this will be right now. If you went out there, you wouldn't be able to see this because it won't be available to be able to view or work on until the time comes for that. Okay. So I'm not going to go through all of these, obviously, and actually down here at some point. But as you can see, hands-on tests aren't going to be all the time. This was hands-on tests on chapters 2 and 3. Here's one for chapters 4 and 5. Sometimes we go a little bit of distance and not have one. Here's one for chapter 8. So there might be some weeks here and there that we don't have one. Like this week here, looks like you're not going to have one till you come back the next day, the next week. So now I just want to warn you, like you get down here far enough, I still have to fill out some of this down here. So this isn't complete, and this will change, and this is going to change a little bit, right? And as you can kind of see here, you can see that we're doing we're doing this chapter 8 up here, and then we're basically jumping over here to chapter 12. So we're not going to be covering every single chapter in this book. So we're going to cover the ones that we feel like are the most important ones. Okay. So anybody have any questions about the syllabus? And like I said, I think what I'm going to do with that, I think the Rankin really wants us to have that syllabus so you download it. But I think I'm going to really put that out on Google Drive so that you can just click it and go to it. And so you can just have that link, and whenever you need to go to the syllabus, you'll have that. You can bookmark it, and it'll be easier to pick up than having to go out there and download another file. I've downloaded it multiple. It can be very confusing. It's confusing to me sometimes. You download one and then you come back, download another, and you're like, which one? And so that's that. What else? So the next thing I wanted to kind of go over is the worth ethic grade. So for this course, for all courses at Rankin, you have a work ethic grade. And so when you start out at the beginning, everybody is in this category, which is the meet you meet standards here, right? And so as long as you do well and everything else, you're going to stay in this category, okay? And just to let you know, actually on your transcript, I believe that there is actually a grade for worth ethic, right? So most of the time, it's probably not a big deal, and don't even know how many employers know about reading it and what that means. But I believe there is a grade on there. So you just want to make sure that you're doing things the correct way to make sure that you're within the correct areas here, right? So and it's okay if sometimes things happen, and even if you move into needs improvement, that's okay. Okay, you just really don't want to be over here on this side because does not meet, and you don't want to be in this category at all, right? But for online courses, this is probably much more different than this is much different than say an in-person class where there's a lot more expectations on the clothing you're wearing, your looks, and how you're getting along with others. Now sometimes there are some situations where within our course here that there may be some little interaction. You want to make sure you're always respectful for others, to others. So that's probably one of the bigger ones here. Make sure you're always and just with everyone that you work with and meet and within at ranking here, just you want to make sure that you're courteous and respectful to administrators and your instructors and to your others and to the other students. All right. So that's one thing. But there's limited interactions, but there's some, right? There's some interactions, obviously. The other's academic dishonesty. So that's one that doesn't matter if it's online or in person. That's definitely one that could change your grade here on this, right? Um, Also, attendance is another, or not getting your work, not getting any of your work done, right? Could move you over into the needs improvement area. So some ways that you could excel is maybe um, you know going out of your doing extra work that's outside of the normal assignments. You know, there's not a lot of different areas, but there's some. You might set up a Discord a study channel for the course, for the class. That would be something that could move you in the exceeding standards. Okay. Um, so as far as this is concerned, though, and this does impact your overall grade. So like if you got moved and some of these areas like pride and performance, it's not everything's always you're going to start out with everything in this one, but it could be ability. Let's say you're not getting along with others, it would just be this one here would be moved over on the or well, I'm sorry, it'd be the side needs improvement. So if you're not getting along with others, just this area, just this ability to get along with others would be here. This would be highlighted, right? Um, but when that happens, it does impact your grade. It's very, very minimal. And, it might be like a point zero 0.01 type change to your overall grade, which is hardly, it's very, negligible. But, the fact is it can impact your grade a little bit. And the important thing is, yeah, and actually, if you do some things that would be does not meet expectations, then yeah, you're going to have some problems. You're going to have some more challenges with making it through the program. Okay. So the next thing here, what I think what we'll go ahead and do is just kind of go ahead and talk a little bit about setting up your environment. I think a few of the couple of people on this have already set up their environment, but I don't think everybody has. But so go ahead and review that real quickly, and then we'll go ahead and take a break after that, and then we'll come back, and I have to do we'll do what's called a new student orient. We have to do a new student orientation. It's from the director of student success, and so I'll be playing that video after our break. So let's go ahead and look at setting up your environment, and we'll look at a couple things here besides just that. So I think for the most part, the people who have set it up, I haven't seen anything that from them that they had any problems. I know that they did join the GitHub Classroom. I can see the repositories. And so I can actually show you what that kind of looks like here. So once you get to that point, then here's basically a repository. This is all boilerplate code that, that's been created. And actually I've copied that over from another instructor. And there's a couple things I looked at that I'm not quite sure that I want to keep it like it is, but we'll worry about that later. But in here, actually I have some chapters, and here's your chapter 2, chapter 3. And here's extra exercises. So this is where you'll be, when you complete hands-on test, you'll be going into this directory and you'll be going into whatever's relevant. Some of these won't ever have anything in them because we don't have hands-on tests for every chapter for like this one. Okay, we don't. Now, I did want to kind of point out here, so we have this temp.txt. So the reason that, and there's a whole bunch of these temp.txt and a lot of these different folders, and the reason for that is on the GitHub repository, it won't let you check in something an empty directory without anything in it. So that's why there's all these temp.txt. You can just ignore them, right? Um, they don't affect anything. They don't affect your code or your assignment submissions. And so that's in a lot of these chapters. Right? A lot of these folders, I should say. Okay. Um, so yeah, we're going to be talking a lot more about this, as we're going through the course about, submitting your assignments and so forth. Okay. Um, so here, like I said, the students that have completed this didn't seem to have too many problems with it, or actually nobody had a problem at all. So just install Discord, um, and make sure you join the class server. And this is the server for the class. Um, so this is kind of optional, but I use it. I have an ad blocker of mine, and I use Notepad plus plus a lot. So for many different things, than even just coding, um, for note taking sometimes and other things as well. The ones that are really really important is Git. Your GitHub desktop. For you to be able to turn in your assignments, you need to have GitHub desktop, have your repository. Okay. So these, like I said, I do have a video of this setting up your environment, so you can look at that as well. Like I said, I only went through the most important ones here. Um, Now, one thing I would do is, so hopefully later, if things go well, we're gonna go ahead and bring up Visual Studio. So if you're on this call right now, if you're attending live right now, you may want to go ahead and start working on getting this, download this and get this installed. And because this can take a while. It could take you up to, well, maybe like, depends on your internet connection and how fast your laptop, your PC is. Go ahead and click on this, select this as it is on here, and so that you can follow along with some things we'll be doing hopefully later, for sure, but for sure by tomorrow. So, and you want to follow these, and like I said, this is what you'll end up with that we were just looking at. This one here, yeah, this is kind of wireframes. This is just creating like almost like prototypes of a page. You could just, it's kind of a drawing tool that you can draw. And so this is how I want my thing to look at, and then you use that to actually code from there. Okay, and so then we'll be using this later on in the course, not right away. And like I said, the most important things is make sure you get the Git, make sure you download Git, the GitHub desktop, get your repository set up, and also Visual Studio. So I think, so we'll go ahead and because the next thing I was going to do is the new student orientation. So I know we haven't been going real long, but let's just go ahead and take our 15-minute break now. So let's just come back at 9:45. Come back at 9:45, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the new student orientation video, and you can watch and you can watch that. Okay, and that'll go on for about 45 minutes, and then we can take a break after that, and then we'll go ahead and move into chapter one, some chapter one concepts, and hopefully get into Visual Studio a little bit. Okay, does that sound good? So I'll see you all in about 15 minutes.
Welcome to new student orientation for students attending day and evening courses this semester. My name is Crystal Heron, and as Vice President for Student Success, I am ecstatic that you chose Rankin for your college education. In just a few short semesters, you will have the skills and experience that puts you in command of your future and in demand in your industry. Aren't you excited? I am. Welcome to Rankin. I will describe for you the college's policies and procedures included in the student handbook as shown here. These are the same policies that our industry partners tell us set you apart from other college graduates. This handbook is made available to you on the college's learning management system called Inside Rankin. Everything we do starts with the mission. Rankin Technical College is a private, nonprofit, degree-granting institution of higher learning whose primary mission is to provide you, the students, with the comprehensive education and training necessary to prepare you for employment and advancement in a variety of technical fields. That's certainly a mouthful, and if you'd like to commit it to memory, you can find it on the back of your student ID. But let me break it down for you. First, Rankin is a private, non-for-profit institution. Rankin is not owned by anyone. In fact, students pay 75% of what it costs to actually attend. The rest comes from a handsome endowment left by David Rankin Jr. over a century ago, industry partners, in-kind gifts, and other donations. Rankin is a degree-granting institution of higher learning. That means that Rankin is accredited by the Higher Learning Commission, which is the same agency which accredits colleges and universities in the region. It also allows Rankin Technical College to offer the associate degree, the Bachelor of Science degree, and the Certificate of Technology, as well as the evening certificate. Rankin meets those same rigorous standards so that the degree or certificate that you earn from Rankin is accredited. And as a consumer, you'll know that the college credits you earn are transferable to other institutions. The last part of that mission says Rankin provides the comprehensive education and training necessary to prepare you for employment and advancement in your chosen field, and we do that by adhering to a proven formula for success. Performs that mission by engaging in our three-part educational formula, which espouses technical education, general education, and work ethic. The technical education is the hands-on component where you will practice application of your knowledge in a lab, shop, studio, or work site. The general education component will provide the foundation for clear communications and critical thinking to complement your technical skills and prepare you for lifelong learning. The work ethic component is the soft skills, the positive work values, attitudes, and behaviors essential to the retention and promotion of employees. I think of work ethic as being your own personal brand. It's what people get when they get you. Now that we've covered a little background and a part of our rich history, let's get into some of the academic policies and expectations. First, there is the fact that you have to be authorized. This says all students must be authorized to attend classes at the institution. Not authorized status refers to an unresolved issue with a student's account. If you are not authorized to attend, you will be required to visit the business office to resolve any issues. Again, students must be authorized to attend classes. If you're attending here in St. Louis, you will visit the business office to resolve any issues. If you're attending Rankin West, you will speak with Patrick Glenn or Leah Story. And if you are attending classes at Rankin Southeast, you would talk to Becky Mercurio. Next is the Rankin ID policy. It says the Rankin card is an official Rankin Technical College photo ID card. In addition to identifying the relationship with the college, the card provides access to buildings and meal plans. For the safety and security of our college community, all students and employees are required to wear the Rankin ID card in an appropriate and visible location. For safety, instructors may require students to wear the Rankin ID card in an alternative location while in shops or labs. The Rankin ID card is mandatory. It's a requirement. It's not a choice. All members of the Rankin community are required to wear your Rankin ID card every day in the most visible place. Even when you're wearing coats or jackets, that Rankin ID must be visible because it informs members of the community that you are a part of the Rankin community. The General Education Program is a requirement for students in day programs seeking degrees and certificates. Students must complete the general education courses to satisfy all program requirements. Failure to do so will result in a failure to graduate. You must satisfy all technical program requirements by completing general education courses as outlined in the college catalog under your particular program. All the general education courses are available to you through the college's learning management system, or what we call Inside Rankin, and you may access Inside Rankin at insiderankin.org anywhere there is access to the internet. All students attending technical programs here at Rankin are expected to utilize Inside Rankin regularly. Again, you will access Inside Rankin, the college's learning management system, through the internet at insiderankin.org. You will use your username, which is your first name _ last name, unless you have a very common first and last name. In that case, your name will be abbreviated in some fashion that will distinguish you from other users with a similar name. You'll also have a password, and the password usually begins with the first 3 letters of your last name in uppercase letters, followed by the last 4 digits of your social security number, followed by the first 3 letters of your birth month in lowercase letters. You will also use Inside Rankin to access your email. Every Rankin student will have an email account issued to you by Rankin Technical College. To access your email, you would use your first name _ last name. You would enter your password, and your email address would be first name _ last name at insiderankin.org, as well as your first name _ last name at rankintech.edu. You don't necessarily have to memorize that second email address at rankintech.edu because it will automatically flow into your insiderankin.org account. I strongly encourage you to check your Rankin email 2 to 3 times a day. That is the method that Rankin faculty and staff will use to communicate with you. You'll also use Inside Rankin to access and monitor your technical and general education courses. You'll also be able to monitor your attendance and your grades. You'll be able to access an unofficial transcript, and should you have questions during off periods, you'll be able to access a chat feature where you can ask questions and get a resolve relatively quickly. And just to reiterate, all students are expected to utilize Inside Rankin on a regular basis to access their courses, submit coursework, monitor their attendance as well as their grades. It's the way that we communicate with you, so please make certain that you're familiar with navigating Inside Rankin. Up next, we have the Academic Honesty Policy. Academic honesty is essential to the education process at Rankin Technical College. Thus, academic dishonesty is a basis for disciplinary action or dismissal. Such acts include cheating on an exam or homework assignment, helping another student to cheat on an exam or homework assignment, the illegal or unauthorized possession or changes to a graded exam or assignment, plagiarism, and falsifying documentation submitted for course credit. If you are not clear as to what constitutes academic dishonesty, please consult with your instructor. This slide illustrates the grade point scale. The highest grade you'll earn is an A, and the lowest grade you can earn is an F or a WF. However, the lowest passing score that you can earn is a C. An A is worth 93 to 100%. A B plus is worth 90 to 92%. And a B is worth 84 to 89%. In fact, we'll go back. An A is worth 92.5 to 100%. A B plus is worth 89.5 to 92%. A B is 83.5 to 89%. And so you understand there, we're rounding. The lowest possible passing score is a C, 75%, or in other words, a 74.5. So in order to have your courses applied to the course requirements to graduate, you have to earn a C or better in those courses. The lowest C you can earn is a 74.5%. This leads us to the standards of academic progress. It says students must earn a C or higher in courses applied toward a certificate or degree program. Failure to maintain a 2.0 grade point average will result in academic probation, and failure to maintain a 2.0 career grade point average after being placed on academic probation will result in academic dismissal. The point to remember here is that you must earn a C or higher in your courses if they're going to apply toward your certificate or degree program. Standards of academic progress regarding your financial aid eligibility. If you are on academic probation for a semester, you are also on financial aid probation during that same time. If you fail to meet the standards of academic progress after that probationary period, you will lose your eligibility for financial aid, and failure to meet a completion rate of 67% or better will result in the loss of financial aid eligibility. Voluntary withdrawal is not a policy, but it's a practice. It says students desiring to voluntarily withdraw from a course or the college must do so at the registrar's office. You may email them at registrar@ranken.edu or call 314-286-3660. Or you may consult with the Student Success Department regarding your intent to withdraw from a course or from the college. You may email them at ssc@ranken.edu or call 314-286-4891. Failure to properly withdraw from a course or from the college could lead to an assessment of charges. The point here is do not just disappear without notifying someone. If you disappear without notifying someone, you will probably continue to be charged. So please, if you're choosing to voluntarily withdraw, take the proper steps. More on withdrawals. Withdrawal and associated charges. It says students must withdraw from courses before the semester begins to avoid responsibility for payment of fees. A 100% refund will be issued through the end of the day before class begins. Withdrawal during the first week of the semester is equivalent to a 90% credit of institutional charges, which means that you will end up paying 10%. Number 2 says withdrawal during the second week of the semester is equivalent to a 60% credit of institutional charges, which means that you will end up paying 40%. At the end of the second week of the semester, there will be no refund of institutional charges due to withdrawal from the college. Withdrawal and associated charges for 8 weeks courses only. Beginning with the first day of class, any student attempting 8 weeks of coursework and withdraws from the college will receive a credit of institutional charges according to the following schedule. Withdrawal from the college during the first week of class would be equivalent to 60% credit of institutional charges, which means that you will end up paying 40% of the cost to attend. After the end of the first week of the semester, there will be no credit or refund of institutional charges. Up next, behavioral expectations. As indicated by this slide, Rankin Technical College is a dry and smoke-free campus. Students are not allowed to be on campus under the influence of alcohol or drugs. In addition, smoking and vaping is not allowed on campus. If you choose to do that, you must do it in your own vehicle. We'll continue with the general policy statement. It says the possession or sale of drugs on campus is illegal, and any faculty member, employee, or student who possesses, sells, or uses such drugs shall be subject to dismissal. Possession of alcohol on Rankin premises is strictly prohibited. Faculty, staff, or students in possession of alcohol will be subject to immediate dismissal. The campus consists of all property owned by Rankin Technical College, plus any areas in which Rankin students are working or visiting in connection with their Rankin education. Standards of conduct. While in attendance at Rankin or representing the college off campus, students are required to conduct themselves in accordance with all the rules and regulations of the college and to preserve and protect all property that has been provided by the college for students' education and benefit. Reasons for discipline up to dismissal from the college include being under the influence of consuming, manufacturing, selling, distributing, or otherwise using alcohol, drugs, or controlled substances without proper prescription or required license on college property. Gambling on premises. Insubordination to college authorities. Malicious destruction of property, including the misuse of computing resources. Failure to comply with the appearance and safety policies. Pilferage. Failure to wear safety glasses in designated areas. Academic dishonesty, forgery, or falsification of records. Conduct which interferes with the right of fellow students to obtain maximum benefit from their education. Bringing weapons on campus and or illegal or unauthorized possession or use of firearms, explosives, or other weapons or hazardous chemicals. Failure to comply with the parking regulations. Driving in an unsafe manner on or near the campus. Behavior that is threatening to any Rankin employee or student, including harassment, bullying, stalking, sexual misconduct, or retaliation. Being in possession of or viewing pornography on college property. Inappropriate conversations that include racist, sexist, or violent comments. Behavior that is disruptive to any class, shop, lab, or studio. And fighting. Next, we'll talk about compliance with federal regulations. Student Identity Verification Policy. Rankin Technical College has processes in place to ensure that a student registered for a course is the same student who participates in that course and receives course credit, primarily through the use of a secure login and password. All distance education courses are offered through Inside Rankin. That would be the online courses, and all students are provided a username and password for secure access to the college's computers and Inside Rankin upon entry to the college. Again, I can't stress enough, please make certain that you are using and navigating Inside Rankin and accessing your Inside Rankin email accounts on a regular basis. The Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act of 1974 is another federal regulation. We refer to it as FERPA. It says the purpose of the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act of 1974 is to afford certain rights to students concerning their records. The primary rights afforded are the right to inspect and review student records, the right to seek to have their records amended, and the right to have some control over the disclosure of information from those records. Rankin Technical College does not disclose student information unless a release of authorization form has been signed by the student. In other words, your student record is your student record, and Rankin Technical College cannot disclose information about your record, meaning your grades, your attendance, or anything else regarding your educational experience at the institution, unless you give us the written authorization to do so. This slide speaks to the commitment that Rankin has to diversity, equity, and inclusion. It says Rankin Technical College is committed to creating a diverse workplace and learning environment where all voices are encouraged and heard. The college promotes and celebrates inclusion, recognizing the valuable and unique contributions that diverse individuals bring to the Rankin community. The college denounces all forms of racism and discrimination against people of color and the LGBTQ+ individuals to the demise of their security, livelihood, dreams, and ambitions. Individuals experiencing exceptions to this statement should contact the Director of Human Resources or the Title IX investigator. Title IX Sexual Misconduct. Title IX is a federal regulation that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex. It says Rankin Technical College is committed to providing a safe campus for students, faculty, staff, and visitors. Rankin prohibits sexual misconduct and inappropriate relationships between students and faculty, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. Anyone proven to have violated this policy will be disciplined up to and including dismissal from the college, depending on the nature of the misconduct. Students with disabilities. It says Rankin Technical College is dedicated to providing individuals with disabilities access to Rankin's programs, services, and activities. Pursuant to Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, and other applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations, the college prohibits discrimination and harassment against any qualified individual with a disability. If you are a student requesting academic accommodations, you must first identify yourself as a student with a disability with the Student Success Department. Next, you'll have to submit the proper documentation from a certified diagnostician. The individual education plan is not sufficient. Your diagnosis must have been reconfirmed or diagnosed for the first time within the last 3 years. You must also participate in the interactive process to gain accommodations. And if there's any problems or challenges, you must report as soon as possible. If you are interested in requesting academic accommodations, go to Student Success, speak with a Student Success counselor, or you may email Student Success at scc@rankin.edu or send your documentation to academic accommodations at rankin.edu. Finally, shop safety protection. Rankin Technical College mandates all students in all designated workspaces, including but not limited to shops, work sites, or labs, must comply with eye and face protection standards established by OSHA. Students must wear ANSI-certified safety glasses or eyeglasses modified with side shields in shop areas. Anyone reported without safety glasses and side shields in designated areas will be suspended for up to 2 days for the first offense and dismissed from the college on the second offense. This is a very serious violation, and we want to make sure that you're protecting your own eyes. So please make certain that you are wearing the proper eye protection in designated areas. Next up, we'll talk about work ethic. The work ethic policy at Rankin Technical College says to earn a certificate or degree from Rankin, day students must earn and it exceeds expectations, meets expectations, or needs improvement in more than 1/2 of all semesters attempted. Work ethic is a separate assigned grade not calculated into the academic grade point average. This means that you must earn passing grades in work ethic each semester. In fact, you have to earn and exceeds expectations, meets expectations, or needs improvement in more than 1/2 of all semesters attempted. If you earn a does not meet expectations, which is not on that list because it's a failing grade, if you earn a does not meet expectations in 2 of the 4 semesters that you attend Rankin, you will not be eligible for your degree or certificate. You have to earn a passing work ethic grade in more than 1/2 of all semesters attempted. This does not apply to students attending evening courses or evening programs. Students attending day programs are required to complete a work ethic course. The name of the course is Understanding Work Ethic Values. It's indicated on your schedule with a WEG C101. It's taken during the first semester of your program at Rankin. It's an introduction to work ethic skills and attitudes. The course will begin on September the 5th, and you should expect to see an email from your instructor with information about how to access the course. The course is pass or fail, and that will be identified on your transcript at the end of the semester. And now we'll move on to the attendance policy. This policy applies to all students, day and evening students attending Rankin programs. All day and evening students are expected to attend every scheduled course session. All day and evening students are expected to arrive on time and remain for the duration of each course session. The allowable number of absences in a course is based on the number of sessions the course is scheduled to meet. Canceled course sessions and holidays do not affect the allowable number of absences. Continuing with the attendance policy, arriving after the scheduled start time or leaving before the scheduled end time will result in an absence or tardy designation on your attendance record. All day and evening students missing more than 10 minutes of a course session will be marked absent. All day and evening students missing up to 10 minutes of a course session will be marked tardy. 2 tardies count as 1 absence. So 2 tardies is 1 absence, 4 tardies is 2 absences, 6 tardies is 3 absences, and so on. Students will be allowed to make up reasonable academic work due to an absence. Reasonable academic work includes homework, quizzes, and tests. It is not reasonable to make up missed shop and lab work. And just to reiterate, all day and evening students missing more than 10 minutes of a course will be marked absent. All day and evening students missing up to 10 minutes of a course session will be marked tardy. I would strongly recommend that even if you're going to be marked tardy, you still choose to attend the course for the remainder of the duration of that course session. That way you get the benefit of the lessons that are taught during that day. Identifying the allowable absences. This table appears in the student handbook, and it'll help you to determine the allowable number of absences for your course. This table is specific to courses that require you to be on campus, those seated courses, face-to-face courses, or hybrid courses. The first column shows the minimum number of course sessions. The middle column shows the maximum number of course sessions. And the final column shows the allowable number of absences. For example, if you're in a class that meets Monday through Friday with a minimum number of course sessions of 69 up to 80 course sessions or more, you are allowed 6 absences. 6 absences. If you're in a course that has 32 course sessions, a minimum number of 32, up to 43 course sessions, that's the maximum, you're allowed 3 absences. If you have a course that has a minimum number of 19 course sessions, up to 31, you're allowed 2 absences. That's how you would read this table. We have the attendance policy for online courses. All day students in online courses will be held to the following standards. The allowable number of absences is based on the total number of sessions the course is scheduled to meet. Active participation in all course sessions is expected. Courses run from Monday at 12 a.m. Central Standard Time to Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And to satisfy the weekly attendance requirements online, students must complete work assigned during the week. That work could be an academic assignment, a quiz, or an exam, or participating in an academic discussion. You must submit the work by the deadline. Failure to do so will result in an absence. There is no such thing as a tardy designation in the online courses. In line with the attendance policy for the online courses is the attendance policy for the internship courses. Internship courses follow the same attendance policy as online courses. Students must actively participate at least once per week to be counted present. You must submit an accurate weekly report indicating the number of hours you've worked, the tasks you've completed, and your work journals, your work, must be signed by your supervisor. Failure to do that, failure to turn in timely records, will result in an absence. There is no such thing as a tardy designation in the internship courses. You'll use a very similar table to identify the allowable absences in the online and internship courses. This table, as well as the other one, is included in the student handbook under the attendance policy. And it says, there's 3 columns again. The minimum number of course sessions is the first column. The maximum number of course sessions is the second column. And the allowable number of absences is in the third column. So if you're in a course that has only 8 course sessions, only 8 weeks, you're only allowed 1 absence. If you have a course that has a minimum of 9 up to 16 or more, you're allowed 2 absences. And again, I want to remind you that the tardy designation does not apply in the online course or the internship course. We'll continue with the attendance policy. What do you do when you exceed the allowable absences? It says students may appeal dismissal for exceeding the allowable absences to the Vice President for Student Success. Appeals must be made within 2 days of exceeding the attendance limit. In cases where there are extenuating circumstances, the student may be allowed to continue in the course. Students must attend class until an appeal decision is reached. Denied appeals will be referred to the Academic and Disciplinary Review Board. I will reiterate, students may appeal dismissal to the Vice President for Student Success. Students only have 2 days to submit that appeal. You are required to attend class while your appeal is pending. If your appeal is denied, it will be referred to the Academic and Disciplinary Review Board, which is a body of faculty and staff who decide whether or not you end up remaining in the course or you will be dismissed from the course. Next up, we'll talk about the appearance standards, and this too applies to all students. General guidelines. It says students must present an appearance appropriate to the expectations and standards adopted by the college and the industries wherein they will ultimately seek employment. No clothing should be wrinkled, torn, restrictive, unsafe, or revealing. All choices comprising an appearance standard are generally suited to the daily tasks and responsibilities of the job. To that end, students are required to wear approved clothing appropriate to their technical major for 3 reasons: to practice the important employability skill of presenting a professional appearance, to foster a spirit of professionalism, and to further the image of the college and its students' reputation. Hair must be clean, trimmed, and groomed, must not present a ragged or uncombed appearance. For safety reasons, students with long hair may be requested to secure their hair back in certain situations or for certain classes. Unnatural hair colors are unacceptable. No words, images, or designs can be cut or etched in the hair. Facial hair. All facial hair must be mature growth, 1/8 of an inch on the first day of class. Facial hair must not exceed 1/2 an inch and shall conform to the shape of the face. Earrings. Students may wear small stud-styled earrings in the lobe of the ear only. 1 set of non-dangling earrings is permitted. No other visible piercings of the nose, eyebrows, cheek, tongue, chin, or chest are permitted, and body piercings other than earrings must be removed. Headwear. Students may wear hats, caps, scarves, or other headgear on campus. However, no head coverings may be worn in the classrooms, labs, shops, or studios, except where approved by department. Approved clothing must be clean and present a professional appearance. Shirts must have the Rankin logo, and they have to be tucked at all times. Pants must be approved, department-specific styles only. They can't have exterior patch pockets that are sewn on, and they must be worn with a black or brown belt. Footwear must be clean, safe, in good repair, and completely cover the foot, and they have to adhere to department-specific guidelines. This slide is specifically for our students in evening programs. It says Rankin sets forth the following standards for evening students. Students must wear their hair in accordance with safety regulations. Students must always wear shoes which completely cover the foot. Students must not use or display language or images which provoke, alarm, offend, or disparage on clothing or other personal items. Students must wear uniform or denim-style pants, no shorts, yoga pants, sweatpants, joggers, tank tops, halter tops, pajama pants, loungewear, sleepwear, or any type of skimpy garments allowed. Now we'll shift to other resources and services. One of the services provided is the emergency notification system. In the event of any adjustments to the college's schedule, students will be notified via the notification system, which will generate a text message. Notifications are also posted on the Inside Rankin web portal and on the college's social media accounts. To sign up for notifications, log on to Inside Rankin and click on the Notifications tab, or use the following direct link subscriber portal sign up at omnialert.net. You will go to Inside Rankin, go to the Notifications tab, and in the far right column, click on the link and follow the prompts. Anytime there is a change to the college's schedule or there is a need to send a message to a large number of persons in a short period of time, the emergency notification system is used. So please make sure that you are signed up to receive those notices and those alerts. And there is a test the first Monday of every month to ensure that you are in fact signed up for the emergency notification system. Another resource available to you is student housing in Walker Hall. Walker Hall boasts clean and a safe environment that's great for studying and socializing. It has laundry and kitchen facilities, as well as games in the common areas. For more information about living in Walker Hall, go to Inside Rankin and select the Student Services tab. And once you're there, look for Residential Life. Another program and resource available to you is the Student Assistance Program. Rankin Technical College provides this service, which offers counseling, legal and financial consultations, and work-life assistance services to students and members of their household family. Next is an image of the semester calendar, because we know that adults have to plan their lives. So if you want, you can find the calendar for the fall semester. You will find the calendar for the spring semester as well as the summer semester, all on Inside Rankin on the main page, on the home page, without even logging in. You'll also find a calendar of events in the student handbook. It shows all the events that are scheduled throughout the year. These events will also show up on the top page of Inside Rankin. The Student Success Department is also a resource. That department provides academic accommodations to students who identify themselves as students with a disability, success counselors who visit your classrooms and talk to you about time management and organization and help you to interpret policies. They have attendance consultations with you. They'll talk to you about academic probation and how to avoid it. They're coaches and mentors if you need them. They also help to coordinate peer tutoring in the event that you find yourself in need of tutoring in your program or general education course. And like I said before, they also help you to interpret policy expectations and best practices. The Career Services Department is another resource. This department is responsible for setting up and hosting our job fairs, making sure that you're connected to what we call Rankin Connection, providing resume writing tips and job search assistance. This Career Services Department is also responsible for organizing and scheduling our graduation ceremonies. And finally, the Career Services Department provides lifetime placement assistance for graduates. Next up is the Public Safety Department. That office provides students with the Rankin ID cards and parking permits. They also provide escort services in the event that you find yourself feeling uncomfortable walking across campus, entering and exiting buildings. They help you if you lock your keys in your vehicle or you need to jumpstart your car. At the St. Louis location, there are the emergency blue lights for Operation ID. They are also responsible for sending the emergency notifications and ensuring that the emergency procedures guides are updated. Those guides can be located behind the door, on the back of the door, in any classroom or shop space. And they're also the lost and found. If you ever need to contact public safety, we're going to encourage you to call 314-286-3300. You would want to save that number in your cell phone. In addition to those resources, there's the Rankin Help Desk and Client Services. That office assists with inside Rankin should you need help logging in and accessing your email accounts. They're also the ones who send your username and password, so if you should ever have any issues or problems, you should contact the help desk. And one final resource is the course catalog. The course catalog can be located at rankin.edu. If you have questions about your program, the number of credit hours you're required to complete, the number of general education courses that may be required, the number of semesters you should be enrolled, please consult that course catalog. Again, it's located at rankin.edu.